Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Review. I am David Allen. The following content was originally intended for the G.I. Joe fan club, but due to unforeseen circumstances, this content will no longer be used in that venue. And so I wanted to share them with you here. I hope you enjoy. Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe Fan Club Live. I am David Allen, the host. I am joined by my other host, Jason Packard. He is the creator of unique G.I. Joe custom items such as challenge coins, file cards, blueprints, stickers, magnets. And we are joined by our special guest today, Ron Rudat, creator of our childhood. Thank you for joining us, Ron. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So every episode of the G.I. Joe Fan Club Live, we talk about a different aspect of the brand from its inception till now. And this episode, with you on board, we figured we would chat about the production of G.I. Joe era of the brand. So the era of the brand is in its 40th anniversary. We're in the tail end of the 40th anniversary. It has struck a chord with thousands, if not millions of people around the world, in my estimation, in my experience. How do you feel about the 40th anniversary and what you've done for this brand?
I don't know what to tell you on how I feel about it. I think it's great. There's a lot of new figures coming out now, but I don't know. I did the figures from '82 to mid '87, and most of those figures are, I guess, they're iconic now. And I don't know, and I'm amazed by the different logos I've done and stuff like that. And now the Cobra logo still around. It's on all the new figures now. That's been around for over 40 years now. So yeah, it's a good feeling. And the 40th anniversary, I spent it in Iowa with a lot of the Joe guys that were there, like you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting many more of the Joe collectors that are out there.
Jason, you have a question?
I don't have any questions specifically, but it's great to be part of an interview. Obviously, being born, I was born in '82, so that was the beginning of the 40th anniversary, right? 40 years ago.
It's a baby.
So I'm 40 now. What's that?
You're just a baby.
I mean, relatively, I'm kind of middle of the road when it comes to A-Raw collectors, because there's a class that were born between 73 and 75, and they kind of came of age with the 82 to 84 stuff, David included. I was born in '82, so a lot of us, we came of age with the stuff from the Deke era, which is '89 to '93. But the thing is that because G.I. Joe had a syndicated cartoon, it was on every single day. And even though I was collecting the stuff from 1990 and 91, if you woke up around 6:30, you could watch G.I. Joe and you would see every episode from season 1, '85 and season 2, '86, like it was nothing. So I appreciated the stuff that you did, which would be '82 to '87, just as much, if not more. And a lot of it, you couldn't really get hands on it because it was sold at that point. You really couldn't find much unless you would hit flea markets and yard sales. And back then there wasn't eBay. Back then there wasn't even Google or computers. So we had to hope we could get a hold of a brochure or a catalog.
Right.
And that would have everything listed. And sometimes your only perspective on a figure or a vehicle was that one studio photograph of it. And that was about it. But
Yeah. Well, I still have some of those catalogs here, and I recently got on a claim sale. I got an '85 catalog, which is coming in the mail pretty soon. So
yeah, some guy at Joe Fest had, I think he had like 15 of them, and they were all like crispy and mint condition. Like I think someone just went on an opening spree maybe 10 years ago and just pulled out the paperwork and put it aside. But yep.
Yeah, I'm probably getting one of those crispy ones because the guy had 5 of them, and so I purchased one of them, and I'll put it with the rest of them I have here. What I used to do was I used to cut pages out of them, so some of my catalogs just are missing pages.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So, Ron, the production of G.I. Joe has changed over the decades. It's now nearly 60 years old from the original 12-inch G.I. Joe till now. At the time that it was kind of being reworked, or at least looked at again for rebranding, what was the initial marching orders by the management for that? I know they were trying to get the sales of Star Wars because it was 3 3/4, but beyond that, what was the idea that they wanted to go for when they rebranded this?
Geez, I really don't know. I don't know if I can answer that because I'm not a marketing person. Someone like Kirk Bazigian and some of the other people that were marketing could tell you better than I could. I was one of the guys sitting in the back designing figures day in, day out, and I really couldn't tell you.
All right. Well, then what about the direction for the figures themselves? Did they give you some sort of direction? Hey, we want this.
Oh no, not at first. We would have brainstorm meetings, and we would throw out different scenarios at a brainstorming meeting. Just write them down, and then I would go back to my desk and start creating, figures, from those brainstorming meetings. And I had I could design anything I wanted. I was free to do whatever, without direction, and I would come up with I don't know, 7 or 8 designs. I would show them to marketing, and we would take those designs and we would say, well, I want the boots from this guy on that guy. I want the this gun on that guy. We would take things and combine it into one figure, and we would go from there. And then I would do a finished drawing of that figure that we came up with. But most of the time, I had free reign to do whatever I wanted.
So I know you're a military buff, and that was really what got you excited about the G.I. Joe brand.
Yeah.
What other inspirations did you gather for G.I. Joe?
Well, I did a lot of research, military research. I used some of Star Wars ideas and created my own ideas from those. Just different places I would get it, but most of the time, the ideas came out of my head, or different things that I wanted to do, and because I like uniforms so much, in some ways it was a lot easier for me to do than someone else. But I'm more or less detail oriented, and I'm a lot slower than some of the other guys that are out there, like Mark Pennington, who came after me, You know, does work quickly, and me it takes forever to do. But I think about how I'm going to portray that figure, and then I come up with my ideas for it. Well, you know, guys like Mark and Kurt Groen and whoever else after me were comic book guys. So they were constantly doing figures all the time and doing them for comics where I wasn't, there at all. I mean, I came in on the Joe line because I was the only guy at Hasbro that did figures at that time. And that's why I was asked to work on the Joe line, and yeah, those were kind of the beginnings of designing figures for me.
Oh, very good. What do you think about the different other aspects of the Joe brand that have come and before you got the Joe brand? Like there was the Mego style figures, there's the 5-point of articulation style of figures. Then there was like the really, really articulate, like Microman figures before. Why do you think they went with the style that you guys came up with?
Well, it wasn't up to me there. It was up to our engineers at Hasbro, trying to figure out an easy way to make that figure and just have those different points articulated. It didn't have anything to do with any other companies or anything like that, or Star Wars figures, or but yeah, the engineers came up with that. They came up with a buck that all the sculpture was done on, and you had to stick to that buck. You couldn't, if you went into the buck, they couldn't use it. So everything was based off of the buck for the early figures. Now the new figures are totally different. Those are all done on computer, and no, none of those guys do any handwork at all. And everything we did was by hand. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you about articulation on those things. Just it's the way it was.
Interestingly enough, it looks like you designed at least one vehicle. Apparently, you designed the Fang 1.
Oh yeah,
concept artwork by you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did the Fang. I did the Moray.
Yeah.
What else? I know I did a few other things. I did some little robotic vehicles.
Pack rats.
Yeah, I did all the pack rats.
There's a Moray for you.
Yeah, I have the original drawing here at home.
Wow, that's awesome. I tell you something, the Moray was probably my favorite when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It really was. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I asked if I could do some vehicles. Because, I was doing figures one after another. I said, can I have a chance to do a vehicle? And they gave me a chance. So, yeah.
Predominantly, it was Wayne Luther, Guy Cassaday, Bob Morris, Greg Berniston, a few others. Stephen Reese. Stephen Reese, I've never understood, because he made the most iconic, most amazing vehicle of them all, which is the Night Raven. But I'm trying to see if he did anything else, and I can find almost nothing. It's like he really just knocked it out of the park. But that was about it.
When Steve was there, he was the director of boys at the time. He was over everybody, and he was also into aircraft. He loved painting aircraft and doing illustrations. So that's probably why he came up with the Night Raven. And Greg Greg Bernston. He did the bridge layer. I know he did the USS Flag. He built the model by hand. So, Greg did some great work, and Dave Kunitz, Guy Cassidy did quite a bit. Guy came from Tonka, and then he started doing vehicles on Joe.
It's interesting about Guy Cassidy. He's designing cars now, and some beautiful cars at that. I'm like, so obviously he had a knack for vehicles.
Yeah, well, he's big time into drawing cars. Yeah, I mean, he still does it. He does commissions for people of certain cars that he likes. He's restoring an Imperial right now. I'm not sure if it's fully restored yet or not. It's a convertible, so.
Yeah.
So, out of all the designs that you've done over the decades, I have to say decades now, there are some designs, obviously, that Hasbro didn't go forward with. Dan has showed some of those designs in his series of books. He's got 10 volumes now, and every volume he's got 2 or 3 figures and 2 or 3 vehicles that did not get picked up.
Yeah.
What was the criteria for Hasbro not going forward with a design?
Of what design?
Of a figure or a vehicle?
Of not going forward with it? I have no idea. If they didn't like a figure, they wouldn't produce it. I came up with several different figures, and they just got thrown in the can.
Legionnaire is one example of that, right?
Yeah. They went to the multinational force, of different people. I had a Scotsman. I had the Foreign Legion. I had some other figures as well.
Yep. Some things just didn't make it out of the boardroom.
That was kind of similar to Action Force, because that was an international team as well. Were you trying to kind of mimic a little bit of what they were doing over in England?
No, and nothing to do with Action Force.
No.
So what do you feel about the progression of the brand over the decades? Like, it went from O-ring to I think 5 points of articulation, but it was G.I. Joe Extreme, G.I. Joe Sergeant Savage, and then it went into like Sigma 6. Now we have the Classified. These are all different designs and styles and aesthetics for this brand. What is your feeling about this?
It doesn't bother me one bit. I mean, those different designers doing different things, the only ones I can comment on are the Classifieds, and Lenny Panzica is doing a good job on them. So
a bunch of them right back here.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them here too. I don't like the new packaging though.
Yeah, nobody does.
I think they're trying to get out of it cheaper.
As a purist, I mean, I really only deal with this stuff from 82 to 94. There's a couple little things from after that I will collect, but for the most part, I just like what I had during my time. The carded figures, the boxed vehicles with the very nice artwork on it.
Yeah. Well, I'm only collecting certain ones that I like. And I mean, there are a couple others I like, but I don't want to spend the kind of money they're asking for it. So, like the Serpent, Dr. Mindbender.
Yeah, I gotta say they are very impressive. The new Serpentor, the new Dr. Mind. Those two figures, the efforts they put into it, the package design and the presentation is just amazing. It really is. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Cobra Commander. When they put out with a really nice box art on it. That one I had to have because of the artwork. Not because of the figure, just the artwork.
It's the Imperial Procession Cobra Commander that's like all gold with that fold out.
That's the Supreme Leader, Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
That is. I actually got one of those because it was a promotion through some website, but yeah, I really like that one as well. That's one of probably only like 5 classifieds that I even own. I don't do that much of them.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing I find about classified at the moment is they're kind of going back. They're retreading what you guys did. They're taking your designs that you did with the example being your color studies of the HISS tactician. They're actually taking your color studies and making it into a figure. And there was a fan photo about that. And they picked, I think, the Delta variant, which is the black and red one, and a little silver and stuff like that. So obviously that has touched a chord with a lot of people. And that's why they're kind of going back to that. They started out with a bit of a different design, a futuristic, more modern design, but they went back to the retro design of what you created. What do you think about that?
My scanner just went off on me.
That's okay.
I don't care one way or another, and the guys could choose which one they liked, and then Hasbro decided which one it was going to be, which got the most votes. So
Ron, let me ask you this. If you had to pick, what are your favorite 2 designs that you did for G.I. Joe? And then what are the favorite 2 designs you did for Cobra?
Oh boy, that's a tough one.
It is, because you did so many of them, right?
Yeah,
it's like picking from your children.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard. I tell everybody that I like them all. So
that's true. Yeah.
I'm curious about some of the inside things that you guys put into these figures. The Classified Dusty had just come out, and there's his name on it is your name backwards.
I saw that. I saw the commotion on it too.
Yeah.
People were wondering why I didn't have my first and last name on the package.
Well,
it's a
I'll put it to you this way. It's awesome. We all appreciate Easter eggs, and that's something that I do in a lot of the work that I do. For example, I write file cards for figures that never had file cards. So you got to be Dusty because his name is Ronald Tatter, right? Yeah. And in the cartoon, they just called him Rudat. They didn't even bother to. They just went straight into it, right on the nose.
Yeah.
But then you also had your face as Leatherneck in 1986. Kirk Bozigian got to be Law, even though his name wasn't put on there. Bob Morris got to be Captain Bob Searam, the Night Boomer pilot, even though he never really had a figure. Right?
Did that on purpose.
I know. I love it.
People
but you know who never got one? Mark Pennington never got his name Easter egged or anything until I did the file card for the 94 fighter pilot from the convention. So
you ought to send
in the group that I run. What's that?
You ought to send it to Mark.
I am trying to get a hold of him. I have to friend him on Facebook, talk to him briefly in a polite way. I mean, I've never talked to him before, and I want to send him one because
he's a real nice guy.
Yep. Yeah. Because I was actually originally going to use the name Kurt Groen. I was going to use it backwards like Niorg.
Yeah. Because
I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. I look at stuff. As it turns out, they used his name to make Tracker in 1991. It's Christopher Groen because I guess it was his little brother. So he got his Easter egg, and I'm like, okay, well then I have to do Mark Pennington, and I made it Lieutenant Mark Nontginep, basically almost backwards, switched it around a little bit, made it sound French, but I got to send him one of those for sure. And I'll ask David to send you a copy of the file card as well while I'm at it too, because it's really a good read. But
what was the thought process of that type of stuff? Why did you guys do things like that?
For fun.
Yeah, for fun, man. You insert a lot of stuff into it.
Yeah, guys I worked with. So I put their faces on several different figures. Steve Reese, Kurt Brazigian.
I
I
know
forgot.
Vinny D'Oliva got Cesspool.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you can tell it's Vinny when you look at the package. Looks exactly like him.
Yeah, I've seen, because I think Carson shared it with us. They had some studio shots of him looking at the camera, looking like really mean.
Yeah,
And they used the exact same picture to paint over it to make his packaging art, where he was like leering at the camera with a chainsaw in one hand. I love that.
yeah.
It's great.
I didn't do the figure though.
No, that was after your time a bit, about 4 years.
Yeah.
As far as production goes, though, was that an easier thing to find people that were in the office, that were people you knew, family, friends, to use as design inspiration?
No, that came about later on, and yeah, I just made up the faces of the figures I worked on, except for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I got my name on a package. Not my name, but I got my telephone number. I think I told you that.
Yeah. What was that?
The Dragonfly package, the original package.
Really? Nice. Okay.
My telephone number is on it.
Nice.
And only one person in over 30 years has called me.
Yep.
You figured it out.
Well, this is going to go public, Ron. So I don't know if you wanted to put that out there, but
he doesn't have that phone number anymore.
Oh,
that's my home phone number.
Oh. Yeah.
Not my cell.
Oh,
we didn't have.
Nobody uses a home phone anymore, right? So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. No, and that's another thing. As I tried to figure, what I wanted to figure out was the Dragonfly. The back seat guy on that is Lieutenant W.C. Cuthbert, I think. And we never really figured out who exactly that was, but I think it's a real person who was in like Vietnam during the years before.
I don't know, but there is a Bill Culbertson. Do you know? Okay, and it should say Culbert on the side.
Okay, let me check. One second. Dragonfly.
And Bill Culbertson was a sculptor at Hasbro.
Okay, I think that might even be him. Yeah.
And
I don't have a Dragonfly box, by the way, so I kind of have to just refer to look in
your Carson book.
Well, that's on the other side of the house. It would take me like 15 minutes to walk there and back.
So I was going to say, so as far as like the faces, the original line, with the exception of Snake Eye Stalker and Scarlet, they all pretty much had two designs: the bearded head and the regular head with different paint apps on it. Why did they veer away from that design and go to original on each figure?
I have no idea. I didn't even know there were two different looks.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I've seen they put a beard and a mustache on some of the preliminary drawings. Like Hawk originally had a little mustache, but then Hawk was made without one.
No, but there was Clutch, there was Breaker. They had beards. Rock and Roll had a beard, and then everybody else had just the normal hair. They didn't have a beard. So those two designs, and then Scarlet, Stalker, and
beard
Snake Eye were all original. But then after that, everybody had a different design.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. By the way, it's W.C. Culbert. W.C. Culbert.
Yeah, W is William. It's Bill.
Yeah. Okay. And he was a sculptor.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, okay. I get it. All right.
That kind of sounds like Wild Bill.
Well, no, that's William Hardy.
Oh.
So Wild Bill is William Hardy, and on the box it shows Franklin Talltree as the backseater because it's airborne, right? But the stickers that came with the Dragonfly, the sticker has William Hardy in the front seat, and it has WC, which would be William Culbert, in the back seat.
Yeah.
Did he work on G.I. Joe, or was he a sculptor in a different line?
No, he worked on G.I. Joe.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he worked on
something
G.I.
new.
Joe. We had probably between 4 and 5 different sculptors at Hasbro, and
at any given time, right?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
all together.
Yep.
I mean, R&D was quite large at the time. We kept on growing and growing. So, good majority of those people are gone now. So,
very cool. Very cool. I love it. And the Skyhawk has actually no, it used to have a there used to be a name on the Skyhawk, but I guess not anymore. I don't know. I can't find it. But go on.
So going back to the head sculpt thing, what was the decision on that? Do you know?
No, I'm sure they didn't want everybody to have a beard or a mustache. You know?
Yep.
So you got most people are unshaven. So now, what can I tell you? That's the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the production back then, it was predominantly done overseas, and it still is being done predominantly overseas, with the exception of like packaging. I think packaging was done in the United States and stuff like that.
Yes. Yep.
How far did it take for you guys to design a figure and get it to, like, say, the store? What was that time frame for production?
We were always a year ahead. Everything that we did was a year ahead. Now, if we came out with figures in 82, I started it in 81. So, we had nothing to do with the packaging in my department. That was another area within Hasbro. It was the art department. And from there, it went overseas to be printed or whatever. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of this is actually in Dan Klingensmith's books. He talks about production, and one of the things, a recurring theme that I notice on them is that on your production drawings of the figures, usually they're dated one whole year before the model is introduced. Like you said, so some of the things that you were designing in 81, they didn't come out until 82. Some of the stuff you designed in 84, like the Crimson Guard was designed in like March of 1984, but he didn't hit the shelves until like January of the following year. Yeah. Or even later.
Yeah.
It's true.
The production for the original first 13 and Cobra Commander and Cobra Trooper and Cobra Officer. Now, you had an extra year for that because there was a delay due to some issues going on in the United States with the Iran-Contra affair and things like that. And I believe Kurt has talked about the fact that they had to postpone it because they didn't know what the feeling on having a military toy line, and with the issues in Vietnam and stuff coming to a head with all the folks coming back home. Was that an issue? Did they ever tell you, hey, we're going to delay this? What was the problems?
We didn't have an issue whatsoever. We just sat there. We did our work day in, day out. Anyone deals with that stuff, it's either your marketing or higher would deal with it. We had protesters out in front of the building at one point, and it just passes. It goes by.
Well, as the series went on, the original run of G.I. Joe era, they started to do themes like Tiger Force and Python Patrol and all that. Did they ask you guys for ideas when it came to
I had nothing to do with that. That was like maybe Kurt Groen. I don't know. I don't remember Mark working on that stuff. That's later years. I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Because I thought some of them came out around 86, 87, Tiger Force and Python, but
I don't remember. No.
Oh, okay. All right. What about the promotional type stuff? Like when they started to do like Starduster, the Fridge, Sergeant Slaughter. Were you guys involved in a lot of those type of conversations as well?
Well, I met Sergeant Slaughter. He came to Hasbro. He came in his camouflage Cadillac convertible. He pulled up out front of the building. He came inside, talked with mostly marketing. The designers were back at their desks working. I mean, we couldn't interact with him. It wasn't allowed. So, but we did get together in a presentation room. Most of the people working on G.I. Joe, and we had our picture taken with him. As far as anyone else, we just weren't involved with those people at all. I mean, we've had celebrities walk through the building, but that's about it. I met Muhammad Ali. He came in. I had my picture taken with him. Yeah. I met his wife and kid. Michael Jackson came in one time. I was going to take a picture of him with a Polaroid, and he ducked really fast, so I wouldn't take it. Mary Lou Retton, Magic Johnson, different people have walked through the building. I even went to New York City with Alan Hassenfeld, and thought I was going to meet Steven Spielberg, because when he was working on E.T. And I just got to see Spielberg down the hall, and that was it. Like, we just didn't get to meet a lot of people. So.
What about the unique mail away type characters? What was the production and the design aspects for those, the Iron Brigade, the Iron Grenadiers? So I think it was the Steel Brigade, Starduster, and things like that were like mailaways that weren't in the main line of figures.
Yeah. I don't know. I designed those figures, but I didn't know what was going to happen to them. And then no one told me it was going to be a mail away. Kirk Bazigian probably decided, or one of the marketing people decided that's what it was going to be. He had some kind of concept where he was going to, let's have the kids send away for a figure and send us so many flag points or whatever. And, they'll receive this thing. It was a gimmick to have the kids buy more. Yeah.
The Steel Brigade was kind of unique because you got to be the Steel Brigade. You would fill out this whole file and you could put in your specialties and things like that. That was a very unique promotion, and they did promotions like that for the whole run of the series, because I think Cobra Commander was a promotion first before it came out. Major Blood was, Duke was, all these characters were promotions first.
And
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you about those guys. I just enjoyed working on them. That's all.
You don't know anything about the Mickey Mouse aspect of Cobra Commander, do you? How he came out with that symbol instead of your symbol, or did you do both versions?
No, I only did one logo for Cobra.
The one behind you there, next to you?
Yeah. And that's the one that stuck. I think it was just a mistake on the Orient's part to put a tampo print on the figure. It was just a mistake of theirs, and it was corrected. So, I have one here.
Yeah, I kind of think it's weird. I don't know what happened. Thanks for coming back, Jason. You're all right?
Yep, no problem.
I don't know why that stuff like that happens, but it's just with so many moving parts and people involved, obviously manufacturing and stuff like that, there's going to be errors and stuff like that in different things.
Yeah, and that's why we got guys like you and collectors out there making sure everything is copacetic, and you go from one figure to the other and comparing them, and uh, it's hard to explain it. It just happens.
Yeah, I'm not one of those guys. I'm a as it comes, I have it. It's in my collection. I'm not a mint complete person. Jason, though, he's the opposite of me. He knows all about every variation, every nick and cranny of why this figure exists and why it looks like this and why he has all the variations of Starduster, all the variations of the steel, the whatever the hell the name of the thing is, Iron Brigade or Steel Brigade or whatever.
Steel Brigade?
Something.
Woo! Oh boy.
I'm not
have another drink, man.
I'm not the person to talk to about that. Jason is. But there was errors though, obviously, from the get-go, because there's three or maybe 6 variations of Recondo because of his camouflage, 2 or 3 versions of Copperhead because he has dots on his hands, things like that. You guys never got involved in any of that. That was just in the factories.
That's right. That's all manufacturing. Got nothing to do with us.
Nope. He didn't have anything to do with any of those variants, but he designed the original figure, and for that we're very grateful, to say the least.
All
really the great stuff.
Different variations of the Steel Brigade patch. There's like,
that's right.
How many? 3, 4 or 5?
Well, they're in version 1. There's 4, and then there's version 2. So version 1 is brighter green. Version 2 is that's when it became very similar looking in the front. It was darker green.
Yeah.
But the backing is white. Version 3, or pardon me, 1C, is more of a mesh back. It's kind of like a bridge in between a white and the black back, and it's more of a mesh. Actually, you know what? Let's grab it right over here. I'll show you. So it's hard to see because I got my computer on in the background, but bear with me.
Yeah.
I wish there was a way I could turn off the monitor for you, but that's version 1A. It's brighter green. And that's version 1B, and that's when it became darker. So this one, and this one, they all look very similar in the front. The difference is going to be in the back.
Yeah.
So 1A and 1B have a white back to them, like that. And then 1C is where they switch to a mesh back. And then 1D, they're just black. And then, of course, you have the gold head right here.
Yeah.
That's the gold head patch. But yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 different, or pardon me, there's 5 different patches total for 5 different Steel Brigades.
Yep, Jason's the guy to talk to about all those weird things.
And there is no version 1E.
Yeah, Bobby Valla has all that too.
Bobby Valla bought the rights to the name Steel Brigade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how many figures he has. He's got a lot of Steel Brigades, though.
He got a set of the Steel Brigade challenge coins when I did those. Code name he picked was Vicious. Kind of like Vicious Valla, I suppose.
Yeah.
So from that perspective and stuff like that, you don't know that this stuff is going on. You're in your studio, you're drawing, you're creating stuff for the company, but there's no way of knowing that these type of things are going to be successful and valuable down the line based on their rarity or misprint or whatever, stuff like that. How do you feel when you go to a convention and find out something you did is now worth $1,000?
If I had known that back then,
yep,
I would have been collecting every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be not one of each one. I'd probably get 2 or 3 of each one.
Yeah, right.
But you never know.
Yeah.
Back in
we don't have foresight to know what's going to happen with certain things. Some things are inclined to be more valuable, and some things, of course, not so much.
Yeah.
Well, Jason's a mint in box collector and a mint in package collector.
Well, I'm an everything collector.
The thing about stuff like that, I was a child in '82 when G.I. Joe started. I bought the toys because they were exciting. They were dynamic. The cartoon was cool. It was action oriented. I played outside with my toys. I've told this story a million times. I've destroyed 6 Oz Strikers playing outside because I threw the darn thing down the hill with my figures. And so that wasn't a natural instinct for children to do what Jason does.
Well, I played with them too, man. I didn't chuck them down a hill, you know. The stuff I played with outside was mostly limited to the ones from '91 and '92, and those were kind of rugged, you know. Like an earthquake, a parasite. I mean, those things you could drag them around the yard and they could take it.
They were bright
They
colored.
weren't fragile.
They were
Right.
bright colored too, right?
And they were also very bright colored, so you didn't lose them. You know, if you left your earthquake outside, or you left like a septic tank outside, you'd find it within 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard.
Do you know why they changed the colors of several of the figures and brought them back in the following toy line, like Clutch and Grunt? Why they went with a beige design?
And that was supposed to be for desert troopers, you know.
Right.
The tan, the same way it is today. You know, you're out in the desert or something like that. You wear the tan uniform. You know.
Right. It was a means to reuse the mold, also obviously. Yeah.
And they try to reuse the molds as much as they could.
You better believe it.
Yeah. and then they started swapping arms and legs and heads and everything else.
They're doing that now with Classified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as the production goes, from your perspective, you did a lot of work and you put in a lot of hours and stuff like that. That was a lot of challenging work, obviously, that you put in. Did you get any sort of, I think I asked you this before, but there was no like congratulatory type back patting for you guys for the work that you were doing. You just got paid and you just did the job, and that was it.
That's it. We didn't get any kudos for anything we did. It was mostly marketing people who got the kudos for selling the stuff, you know, and promoting it and everything else. But the designers themselves, nothing.
No.
But now
it's different. It's different now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Nowadays, 40 years later, from actually technically about 43 years later, because you guys started in the late 70s designing this stuff and creating it, you have been now coming to conventions, seeing the fans, getting the accolades that the fans pour on you, but not monetarily, obviously, but they appreciate it, and you touch the children, us as children, and we appreciated it, and you made our lives more fulfilled and exciting and things like that. How do you feel about that, seeing us at conventions and talking to us fans and stuff?
I think it's great meeting you guys, you know, at conventions. My wife and I both have a good time meeting you guys. My wife can talk your ear off much more than I could. But we have a super time. I love meeting the new fans. I love meeting the kids that come up to the table. You know, the kids are fun. I like meeting all the veterans and the actual active duty soldiers that come up to the table. You know, I really enjoy that. You know, yeah. I mean, some of the guys have given me their patches from their units, and I've gotten a couple of challenge coins from some of the guys.
You mean me?
Huh?
Me. I made the Crimson Guard coin, remember?
Yeah,
That was me.
Yeah. But
and the Viper one, too.
I'm getting challenge coins from actual active military.
Oh, also that, too, yes, of course.
Yeah, and I really treasure those. And yeah, I mean, you do a nice job, by the way, on those coins. They're just
thank you.
They're phenomenal.
Did I show you the Steel Brigade ones last time?
I don't recall if I saw it or not.
I think I brought one over because you actually had Steel Brigade at the. You had a Steel Brigade drawing there. I think I showed it to you at least. You posed with it briefly for a photo. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
I think you took the coin back.
Yes. I did. Yes.
But yeah, you gave me a Crimson Guard coin.
That's right.
Yeah, that one I have. I like that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get patches from guys. The last one I was in Iowa. I met a serviceman who was in the Air Force. He's in the Missile Command, and he gave me his Air Force patch.
Wow, nice.
Kind of cool. Nice kid. And yeah, we were down in the lobby, and I met the Marines who were walking around, and there was a Marine Corps ball there at the hotel.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was cool.
And one of them came up to, we talked for a little bit. He was a little drunk, but
yeah,
yeah, he was fun. He was. I enjoyed talking with him because my dad was a Marine. So yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of fun meeting people and making new friends. At Joe Fest, I'm usually outside of the hotel having a smoke, and there's probably about 8 other guys out there, and we're all jibber jabbering, and it's a lot of fun.
I doubt you remember the first time that you and I met, but I met you back in, I think it was 2010, I believe. You were in Orlando here in Florida, where I am, at JoeCon, and that was, you're right?
Yeah.
Bob Purpose was there. You were there. Kurt Buzigan, Larry Hama. It was like the whole old guard was all there, and that was the first JoeCon I had ever.
I wasn't a guest, by the way.
No, you were just sitting at, I think it was Carson's table.
Carson had a table back then?
Yeah, Carson had a table with all these posters, and you were like at his table.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well,
I think 2010 was in Providence.
Oh, then it had to have been 2011, because I know it was Orlando, and I know you were there.
Yeah, I took it upon myself to fly there myself.
Wow.
Because I wasn't invited to a JoeCon, so I decided I was going to do it myself and just go down there. My son went with me. Carson put us up in a townhouse, and drove us over there to the building. And it was great because I hadn't seen Mark Pennington in a while. I hadn't seen Bart Sears for a while. And they the guys went up on stage, and then they called me up because they knew I was there. So no, I had a really super time. Even the finest. I hadn't met Joe Colton. I only met her in Providence one time. And Maggie Coogan, and yeah, it was good.
And I've met you and talked to you, and we had lunch in the green room one year at Joe Fest. So I've been talking to you and chatting with you now for probably 11 years or so, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you over all these years and learning all of the stories and the behind the scenes and stuff like that, because obviously us as fans, we're just buying the toys. We don't know what's going on with the company and with you guys as artists and stuff like that. So I want to thank you very much for talking to the fans, being engaged with us as a member of the community, because you're not a difficult guy to reach. You could get you pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I'm home most of the time, and I don't really go anywhere. I go to very few conventions every year, and I got to be invited to go. So no, I've only done 3 conventions this year.
Are you coming to Joe Fest for 2023?
If I'm asked, I'll show.
I am asking you to go right now.
As well, not.
Well, it takes more than that, Jason. You got to put him up in a hotel. You got to fly him. You got to make sure he has a driver.
Well, I'll have a driver once I get there. Trucker Nick will help me out there. So, yeah, I mean, I have requirements for different shows, and it is flying there and a hotel room, and I have a fee that I charge, just for for eating and whatever, and some people pay it, some don't.
Okay.
Joe Fest doesn't pay me at all, so
They don't.
Right.
No,
he makes money when he sells the artwork and signatures that go with it. And of course, he has a per diem for food and provisions while he's there. But typically, most guests don't get paid by a show when they're there.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get a per diem, and I've never gotten one from Joe Fest at all.
Really?
But the Iowa show, I did. I got a per diem there.
Brian Sauer is very professional, and he's above board on everything he does.
Oh, yeah.
He will not do it. If he is not going to stand for his word, he won't do it.
Yeah, well, Brian Sauer is a really nice guy, and we got along with him very well. My son got along with him well, too. I'm going to a very small show in March. It's up in Dover, New Hampshire.
Ah, I know where that is.
And I'm getting a per diem there. I get one at a comic shop as well.
Wow.
Very cool.
Well, then, Ed, get off your rear end and give Ron what he's due.
Right?
I don't want to get him mad at me.
No, it's fine.
Oh.
It's fine.
So, well, that's cool. So you got maybe Joe Fest. You got this show in Dover. Are you going to maybe be back at AR next November?
Maybe. I got ICCC show as well, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be in Nashville. And that's going to be a Star Wars show.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that. For some reason, the Star Wars guys like you, and you're a G.I. Joe guy. That's funny.
I'm the only one there. I'm the only Joe guy there.
Yeah.
But,
Did you tell them that you used some of their ideas for G.I. Joe?
No. But,
well, everyone uses everyone's ideas for everything, so that's not
the promoter of that show is very, very good. He treats the people very well. He gives me a really nice flight in. He puts me up in a nice hotel. They take us out to dinner, all the guests. He's just an overall super, super nice guy. So that's Michael Havens, and the big shout out to him. He deserves everything he can get.
Well, that's an interesting idea you give me there. I might want to attend that show because I always like good shows, and I'm a Star Wars collector along with G.I. Joe. Can't tell from this backdrop, but I am a Star Wars.
The ICC show is going to be huge. They've got 4 hotels. They got 96,000 square feet of vendor space.
Wow. Where is this at?
In Nashville.
Nashville, Tennessee. What time of the year?
It's in May, around the 24th or 25th of May. They have a big area where you can park a camper. They have 1,000 spots right there. It's at the Tennessee Fairgrounds or something like that.
Huh. That's interesting. Was that the dates for every year? Was it always around Memorial Day weekend every year?
No, that's going to be the first time ever for this show. The last year, it was in Nashville. Oh, I can't remember the name of the place. I think it was a Hilton, but it had a big convention center as well. And that was outstanding show as well. Every show, I've been to every one he's put on, and they're great. Yeah, we've had a great time there.
Well, that sounds like an entertaining time. I may have to check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, what was that?
Said very good.
Oh.
I'm waiting for you to say something.
Oh, sorry. So, like I said before, I appreciate you giving us the time and giving us a peek inside the behind the scenes of the production and how G.I. Joe came to be. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I look forward to seeing you in the future and all your future endeavors.
I missed my show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Be well and be safe.
And, Tristan, a big hello from me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he talks about you.
Tristan?
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. I really like meeting Tristan. Although I don't think you had Tristan with you when I met you the first time in Orlando. That was your other son, maybe?
No, it was Tristan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It did not look the same.
No, his hair went totally white. Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right.
All right, folks.
Thank you very much. And we will talk to you in the future.
Okay.
Yo, Joe.
Good.
Bye.